What's up everyone, we're going to be going through the best NBA player props on Prizepicks today. Now I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see, we actually got 20 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. So we're on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get 20 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon, which will be linked down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure to join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $150 just yesterday. Another member who won $102 for the 6th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description. So go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group. And I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. So I want to give a quick shout out to Keith Tisdale 9620, who said, "Nah, Rudy going off tonight for 16. So unfortunately, he did only have 8 points, so our pick was actually right there. He went on the under. And also shouts out to Jackson Ackerman 5740, who said, "Yeah, I want to sign up. I'm new to betting and pretty not tech savvy." So happy to help you out, but shouts out to them. And if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below in this video and like it, and you could be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. All right, so let's get straight into the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're talking about is Jamal Murray, and this one is a fantastic one, because this one is actually 4 points, just straight points, for actually 19.5, and this one actually is for less. Now looking at Jamal Murray, we've actually seen him go on the under in 3 out of the last 5 games. Now looking at those 5 games, you see on May 4th faced off against the LA Clippers, where they closed them out in 7 games and actually had 16 points. Then in game 1 against Oklahoma City Thunder on May 6th, we saw him have 21 points, and May 8th OKC again with 14 points. Then on May 10th, faced off against Oklahoma, where he had 27 points. So he did a great job in that one. And to finish all off, May 12th against OKC, he actually had 17 points there. So like I mentioned, he did go on the under in 3 out of the last 5 games. And his average over the last 5 is also 19, which is interesting to see. Now, when it comes to Jamal Murray, we definitely do see this being a very good matchup, because Denver Nuggets and Jamal Murray faced off against Oklahoma City Thunder in this next game. So this is heading into game 5. It's going to be a very crucial game, because right now in this series, it is currently tied 2-2. So Thunder won the most recent game to actually tie things up. So it's been a very interesting time ahead. So this game is definitely going to be a very much crucial one in order to put them up by, by 1 win pretty much, or 1 step closer to actually winning the series. Now, when we look at both of these teams during the regular season, we both did see them do a fantastic job. Oklahoma City Thunder actually did come in with the #1 spot in the Western Conference, and they actually came in at a 68-14 record with an 82.9% win percentage. So they actually did a fantastic job there. Now looking at the matchup, they do face off against, or Denver pretty much, and Denver is what we're going to be talking about. So Denver did come in at the 4th spot in the Western Conference with a record of 50-32. So they had a 61% win percentage, so they did fantastic there. Now looking at this matchup, it's definitely going to be an exciting one due to the fact that, both of these teams are very good, and on top of that, they are both top teams in the top 5. So, they actually did really well. Now, when we look at this matchup even further, we do see Oklahoma City Thunder. We do see, when it comes to points allowed, we do actually see that Oklahoma City Thunder did come in at 3rd spot during the regular season when it came to restricting in points. So they actually do a fantastic job at restricting points, and that is a big reason why we do very much like the under for this situation here. We have seen OKC do it during the series so far. He's gone on the under in 2 out of those 4 games that have been played played so far. So, they have actually done a fantastic job. Yes, there has been times where he has gone on the over, but guys, you do also have to realize this is the playoffs. Different strategies, different changes in tendencies, different usage rates can definitely adjust and adapt each and every single game. But coming into this next one, we are expecting a huge, change with the defensive strategies that OKC may show, which could actually lead to the under for Jamal Murray. Now, when it comes to Jamal as well, we have noticed OKC's defense has definitely focused on trying to stop him as much as they can. They have done a pretty successful job at that at times, and we definitely see that being a big case coming into this next game. Now, looking at Jamal Murray facing off against OKC during the regular season, we somewhat saw of a similar situation. Now, we did see Jamal Murray actually in the time that they did play each other on 24th of October, he actually had 12 points in that matchup. Then they played again on actually the 9th of March, where he actually had 17 points, and then played again on the 10th, which was, back-to-back games of the day after, and he had 34 points in that matchup. So he did a great job there, but he actually has gone on the under in 2 out of those 3 games, and that is a big sign to us on why we do very much like the under for this situation here. We definitely have seen him playing well, and, on top of that, we are also expecting, since it is playoff time and a very crucial game, OKC should come out firing when it comes to the defensive side of things and try to stop him as early as they can. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation. So Jamal Murray, 19.5 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're going to be actually talking about none other than Jarrett Allen. So Jarrett Allen, great player, as we all know, for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And this one is for 26 points, rebounds, and assists, or PRA. And this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Jarrett Allen, we've actually seen him go on the under in 2 out of the last 5 games. Now, looking at those 5 games, you see on April 29th, faced off against Miami, where they were able to sweep them. And he actually had a 28 PRA during that matchup. Moving on from that game, we saw in game 1 against, Indiana on May 5th, we actually saw him have an 18 PRA there. Then on May 7th, actually against Indiana again, had a 37 PRA. Then May 10th against Indiana had a 33 PRA there. Then on May 12th, facing off against Indiana, we actually saw him have a PRA of actually 5. So he has done a fantastic job on some of those games, but he has gone on the under in 2 out of the last 5, and his average over the last 5 is also 24. So, his average is actually significantly under this line, which is a telltale sign to us there. Now, looking at Jarrett Allen, we do very much like this matchup. Now, when we look at Cleveland, Indiana, it's definitely been a pretty tough series for Cleveland because Cleveland are currently down 3-1 in this series. So it's definitely been a tough time for them. Now, when we look at the series so far, we also did see that Pacers are coming off a monster win actually against Pacers. So it's definitely been really interesting there. And when we also look further, we are also seeing that when we look at the rankings of both of these teams, we did see Cleveland Cavaliers did come in at the number 1 spot in the Eastern Conference with a record of 64-18. So they actually did very well, a 78% win percentage, which I thought was great. And on top of that, they face off against the Pacers. And when we look at the Pacers, it's definitely going to be a pretty tough game because the Pacers do actually, rank 4th due to the fact that they just have done very well. And they actually did have a record of 50-32 during the regular season with a 61% win percentage. So they actually did a fantastic job there. Now, looking at this next matchup, it's definitely going to be an exciting one because we do see that, obviously this next game is definitely a make or break game for both of these teams. If Indiana end up winning it, then they move on to the next round. And if Cleveland win this one, then they obviously keep their hopes alive of actually sealing the deal. So, for that reason, we do very much like this game overall. But looking at actually, Indiana, we actually do see Indiana Pacers when it comes to points allowed, they rank 17th. When it comes to assists allowed, they do rank 12th. And then rebounds allowed, we also have seen Pacers rank pretty poorly as a ranked 22nd. So the reason why we still do very much, however, like the under for this situation here is due to the fact that when we look at someone like Jarrett Allen, what we also do see is that he does play the center position. What we have seen time and time again is that actually, Indiana Pacers have actually done a fantastic job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists to the center position. So for that reason, we definitely do see someone like Jarrett Allen struggling in this situation here. Because of those reasons, we do very much like the under for this situation. And, when we also look further, we also are expecting, not that high of a usage rate from Jarrett Allen due to the fact that, some of the players that are back, like Evan Mobley, like Darius Garland, have actually taken away the usage rate from Jarrett Allen. So, some of the games where Jarrett was able to do very well, there were a couple of players missing. Now, we think in this, with Evan Mobley being back, we should see him take away the usage rate from Jarrett Allen, and Jarrett should go back to his normal sort of kind of play style where it kind of just does play that role playing type big to Evan Mobley. So, for that reason, we do very much like the under. Now, when we look at the matchup and also Jarrett Allen against Indiana throughout the actual regular season, we do see something pretty interesting. Now, we saw them face off against each other first in the season on the 12th of January. He actually had 11 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 assists. So he actually did it pretty well there, but still under on his line. Then the next matchup, we saw him actually have 16 points, 9 rebounds, and 2 assists in that matchup. So another big matchup there. In the next game that they did play, which was on the 10th of actually April, so I'm have 3 points, 10 rebounds, and 1 assist. So only a 14 PRA there. And then finished off, he actually played again on the 13th of that same month, and he had 0 points, 0 rebounds, and 1 assist there. So when we look at someone like Jarrett Allen, we do very much like, the under for this situation. Like we mentioned, he's gone on the under in 3 out of those 4 games. So that's a telltale sign to us why we still do like the under, especially in this matchup against Indiana Pacers, who have shown time and time again that they do a great job defensively, and especially do a great job defensively against the center position. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this one. So keep an eye out for Jarrett Allen's line. We see a lot of value there to go on the under. So Jarrett Allen, 26 points, rebounds, and assists for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about Nikola Jokic. So this one is a similar pick because this one is also a PRA, points, rebounds, and assists. This one is for 50.5, and this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Nikola Jokic, we've actually seen him go on the under in 4 out of the last 5 games. Now, this one's an interesting one. We actually do see that, he has gone on the under consistently. On May 4th, went on the under against LA Clippers in that last game where he only had a 34 PRA. Then after that, on May 6th, faced off against OKC in game 1 where he had a 70 PRA. Then in May 8th, against Oklahoma City Thunder, actually had a 31 PRA. And then on May 10th, against OKC, had a 42 PRA. And then May 12th, against OKC, had a 43 PRA there. So he has gone on the under consistently. His average over the last 5 is also 44, so significantly below this line. Now, when we look at someone like Nikola Jokic, we actually do very much like the under for this situation here. Now, when we look at the matchup, obviously we have mentioned before the Denver and OKC matchup. There is only 2 games for today, but there's obviously a very exciting matchup. Thunder do tie the series 2-2. It's going to be an exciting game. And like we mentioned before, Thunder do rank first. Denver Nuggets do rank 4th, but they are both top teams, from their category when it came to their first round. So they were the top team. So, it is great to see a very high level basketball. But looking at Oklahoma City Thunder, what we do see is that Oklahoma City ranked 3rd in points allowed, 4th in assists allowed, and when it comes to rebounds allowed, we also do see OKC rank a little bit worse as a ranked 20th. Now, the fact that OKC do rank very well in points and assists, we definitely see that already just being enough to see someone like Jokic go on the under. Another big reason is that when it comes to Jokic, he does play the center position, and Oklahoma City Thunder actually do a fantastic job at restricting points, rebounds, even assists at the center position. Now, don't get me wrong, Nikola Jokic is a great player, and he has definitely gone on the over at times in that game 1. However, on the actual more sort of likelihood that it will happen, we do very much think the under is definitely more likely to happen in this situation here, especially with the matchup and scenario that they do have. OKC, what we have seen when it comes to their defensive strategy, it really is to focus in on stars, hone in, and try to restrict them as much as they can. They did a great job over the last couple of games. Like we look, out of the 4 games, he's gone on the under in 3 out of those 4 playoff games. So that's already a big tall tale sign to us there. Now looking at actually Jokic against OKC, however, during the regular season, we did see some pretty interesting stat lines there. Now, they did play each other on October 24th, where he actually had 16 points, 12 rebounds, and also 13 assists. So he did a pretty decent job there. After that, we saw him actually face off again on the actual 6th of November. Now that one is a very interesting game because he also did very, very well, but he actually had 23 points, 20 rebounds, and 16 assists. So he did a great job in that matchup. As we all know, that was a 59 PRA. Then moving on from that, they played again on actually 9th of March in that sense. And in that matchup, he had 24 points, 13 rebounds, and 9 assists, which he had a 46 PRA there. And then played again on the day after, on the 10th, where he had a 35, 18, and 8 game, where he had a 61 PRA there. So he has gone on the under in 2 out of the last 4 games during the regular season. Now, because of that, we definitely still see that being enough to see someone like him go on the under in this one. So for that reason, we are definitely liking the under. When we look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also have him favored for the under as well. So that works out in our favor there. So Nikola Jokic, 50.5 points, rebs, and assists for less, I think is a fantastic pick. All right, so as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but Prizepicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player we're going to be talking about is none other than Evan Mobley. So as you all know, Evan Mobley, great player for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and he's done a fantastic job during the regular season because we actually saw him average 18.5 points, also 9.3 rebounds, 3.2 assists, while also shooting 55.7% from the field. So he definitely has done a fantastic job for the Cleveland Cavaliers. We've also seen him rank 43rd in points, 14th in rebounds, and also 79th in assists, while also coming in at 12th in field goal percentage. So Evan Mobley has done a great job. Now, what we also do see when it comes to Evan Mobley is that he is actually won Defensive Player of the Year, so congratulations to him. But we also do see that Cleveland do face off against the Indiana Pacers. Now, it's definitely been a tough time for Cleveland because they are currently down 3-1 in the series against Indiana. So it clearly hasn't been the best time for Cleveland Cavaliers. And on top of that, Pacers have just been on an absolute tear as of lately. Now, they do lead the series 3-1 like we mentioned, but also looking further, when we look at actually the regular season, we did see Cleveland Cavaliers actually have the #1 spot, as we mentioned before, in the Eastern Conference with a record of 64-18. So they actually had, the best record in the Eastern Conference with a 78% win percentage, and they are currently losing to the team that came in 4th in the Eastern Conference with a record of 50-32 and a 61% win percentage. So it's definitely been an interesting time there. Now, obviously, looking at Pacers and Cavaliers, this matchup is definitely going to be a good one because Indiana can send Cleveland home and move on and advance into the conference semifinals, and Cleveland are definitely trying to keep their hopes alive. Now, looking at Pacers and where they do rank, we did see Indiana Pacers come in at 17th when it came to points allowed. When we look at assists allowed, we do see that the Pacers did rank pretty well at 12th, and then rebounds allowed, we also did see, the Pacers ranked 22nd. So when it comes to Evan Mobley, we actually do see him going on the over in this situation here. Now, Mobley had missed some games, but he is now finally back, and he is looking to try and square things up and come back from this 3-1 lead that Indiana have. Now, when we look at Indiana, they have done a great job and they are on a little bit of a hot streak for sure. But when we look at, a player like Evan Mobley, we have seen him over the last 5 games do a pretty good job. We saw in their first round against Miami in game 3, he had 19 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists and had a 124-87 win. Then in game 4 against Miami, actually had 17 points, 1 assist, and 7 rebounds, which is a 138-83 win. So they were able to sweep them in that series and move on into the next round. Then they faced off against Indiana in game 1 where they lost 121-112. And in that matchup, we actually saw him have 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 assists. Then he missed out actually on game 2, and then moving on into game 3, we actually saw them win 126-104, and in that matchup he had 18 points, 13 rebounds, and 4 assists there. Now moving on to game 4, we actually saw 129-109 loss where he had 10 points, 5 rebounds, and 0 assists there. So it's definitely been a bit of a tough time for Cleveland, as we do see. And when we look at Evan Mobley's most recent game, yes, he did struggle a little bit, but we are expecting him to bounce back and answer back. When we look at game 3 where they did actually win, Evan Mobley had himself a very, very good game. He went on over on all 3 categories, in assists, in rebounds, and also in points, or just slightly below in points. So he still did do very well. Now looking at game 1, we saw him have 20 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, so still went over on 2 out of the 3 games. So definitely been a good time for Evan Mobley stat-wise when it comes to the matchup against Pacers. They haven't just been able to win games, but we should see them try and bounce back and win this game here. So for that reason, we still do very much like the over for this situation here. So keep an eye out for Evan Mobley and for his line. If the line is under his averages, then definitely look to go on the over. So getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Jaylen Williams. So as you all know, Jaylen Williams, great player from OKC, and he did a fantastic job during the regular season because he actually averaged 21.6 points, 5.3 rebounds, 5.1 assists, while also shooting 48.4% from the field. So Jaylen Williams has done a fantastic job for Oklahoma City Thunder, and he has helped them actually get the #1 record in the Western Conference. Now looking at this matchup between this team, because Thunder face off against the Nuggets, and this has been one of the most nail-biting series as of right now because they currently are tied 2-2. So it's definitely been an interesting time for both of these teams. Both are pushing down to the wire, and it is expected from a lot of players and also analysts that it could go to game 7, as both of these teams are a very, very good match up. Now looking at Jaylen Williams and Oklahoma City Thunder, looking at the regular season, just to reiterate, we did see them, have a record of 68-14, and an 82.9% win percentage, and they faced off against the Denver Nuggets, who came in 4th with a 50-32 record and had a 61% win percentage there. So Jaylen Williams and Oklahoma City Thunder are currently tied with the team that has come 4th, so they are looking to try to solidify and get this next win. Now looking at the matchup, obviously Denver Nuggets do rank, pretty poorly in defense. We actually saw them ranked 25th in points allowed during the regular season. They ranked 29th in assists allowed, and then rebounds allowed. We also did see Denver Nuggets rank 6th. So they rank a little bit better in rebounds, and a big reason for that is due to the fact that Jokic is a great rebounder. Now, when we look at someone like Jaylen Williams, we do very, very much, like the over for this situation here, but strictly just for points and assists. So for that reason, we do very, very much like the over for this situation here. Looking at Jaylen Williams, we do see that he does have a decent usage rate in the points and assist department, and we definitely see that being a huge case coming into this next game. Now looking at his rankings, he did rank 25th in points, 65th in rebounds, 34th in assists, and then 44th in actually field goal percentage. So he's actually done a fantastic job there. But what we also do see when it comes to his field goal percentage is that due to the fact that, he has been shooting a high percentage, his usage rate has actually remained pretty well during these playoffs. You tend to see, second unit players like Jaylen Williams, in a sense of second unit as in like the second option compared to SGA. We tend to see his usage rate fall down, but we have actually seen him play very, very well, not just throughout the series, but throughout the whole playoffs. Now, looking at the last 5 games, we do see some pretty interesting things. We see that in game 4 against Memphis, we actually do see a 117-115 win where they beat them, and he had a 23-point, 5 assist, and 4 rebound game in that matchup. Then in game 1 against Denver, he actually took a loss with a 121-119 loss. In game 1, he had 16 points, 4 assists, and 7 rebounds there. Then in game 2, we actually saw a 149-106 win where he had 17 points, 7 assists, and 4 rebounds. In game 3, they actually lost in overtime in a 113-104 loss where he actually went off for 32 points, 5 assists, and 3 rebounds. Then in game 4, had 10 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds in a win, 92-87. So it's definitely been a battle for sure. Now, when it comes to Jaylen Williams' stats over the last couple of games, it's definitely been, ups and downs. Some games he hits on the overs on almost all of them. Other games he doesn't. So it's definitely been an up and down scenario. But thinking and, really analyzing what Nuggets are going to bring out defensively and the adjustments that they are going to make, we could see Jaylen Williams be able to take advantage of this as the focus may be on other players in that Oklahoma City Thunder team. So for that reason, we do very much like the over for this situation here for someone like Jaylen Williams, and we should see that happen pretty quickly due to the fact that his usage rate has remained high throughout this whole playoff series. So for that reason, keep an eye out for Jaylen Williams. Keep an eye out for the over. If the line is under his averages, definitely look to go in the over. But like I mentioned, guys, focus more on points and assists. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Ben Shepard. So as you all know, Ben Shepard, great player. And as we do know as well, we have seen that Ben Shepard has had a pretty, decent usage rate in, the last couple of games for Indiana. But we do see Ben Shepard ranked 150th plus in points, where he had 5.3 points that he averaged, 2.8 rebounds, ranking 150th plus, 1.3 assists, ranking him 150th plus as well, and then a 41.8% field goal percentage. So Ben Shepard doesn't really put up, that amazing sort of stat lines or MVP type stat lines during the regular season, but he's definitely had a good usage rate out there for this matchup, especially against Cleveland. Now, like we mentioned before, the matchup between Indiana and Cleveland have definitely been an exciting one. Like we mentioned, they do lead the series 3-1. So we actually have seen Indiana very much take advantage of this and try to close this out and get this next game. Now, looking at Cleveland Cavaliers, we do see, however, Cleveland do rank when it comes to points allowed. They actually do rank pretty decently, as they do actually rank 12th. And then looking at assists allowed, we do see Cleveland ranking 8th. And then also on top of that, rebounds allowed, you also do see Cleveland Cavaliers ranking 11th. So they rank really decently in all 3 categories, but we definitely see that being enough going on the under for someone like Ben Shepard. Now, when it comes to Ben, although he does have a decent usage rate and you probably have seen him a lot more during this series, we still do very much like the under for this situation here, as there's so many other players in this Indiana team that have a very much higher usage rate. So we actually do see that Ben Shepard, from Indiana Pacers has definitely had a decent usage rate, but we are expecting him to be a lot more of a role type player and not really more of a main player for this Indiana team, especially against this Cleveland matchup. Now, looking at their most recent games, or Ben Shepard's most recent games, we saw him play game 5 against Milwaukee, where he had a 119-118 win in overtime, and he only had 1 rebound in that game. In game 1 against Cleveland, we saw them win 121-112, where he actually had 0 stats in pretty much every category. Then in game 2, they won 120-119, where he actually had 0 points, 1 rebound, and also 1 personal foul. And then in game 3, we actually saw 3 points, 2 rebounds, and also a 126-104 loss. And then in game 4, actually had 14 points, 3 rebounds, and 0 assists, where he actually played 29 minutes and had a 129-109 win. So they actually did do very well, or he did very well in that matchup, but we see that more as an outlier game. We should see him come more back down to reality, getting, a couple of minutes here and there. A big reason why Ben Shepard did get a lot of minutes was due to the fact that Benedict Mathurin did actually get, ejected out of the game. Now, although Ben Shepard may still see a little bit more minutes, we don't really see it affecting his usage rate that much. We see other players in this Indiana team try to actually take a lot more of the usage rate, as it's very, very close at closing down this series and moving on into the next round. We are expecting a lot more from players like Tyrese, like Pascal, or even Miles Turner. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation here. So when we look at that, definitely keep an eye out for his line. I see a lot of value there to go on the under, whether it's points, rebounds, and assists. You just want to keep an eye out for the line. If the line is too close to these averages, then definitely look to go on the under. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Denver Nuggets Christian Braun. So, as you all know, Christian Brown, some people like to call him. Now, when it comes to Christian, we actually have seen him average 15.4 points, 5.2 rebounds, 2.6 assists, while also shooting 58.0% field goal percentage. So he's actually done a great job there. We actually saw him ranked 61st in points, 68th in rebounds, 96th in assists, and then 8th in actually field goal percentage. So he has definitely done a fantastic job there. Now, when it comes to Denver Nuggets, as we all know, they face off against Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, looking at OKC, we do see that, OKC have done a great job tying this series up, and it now is a 2-2 series. Just to quickly reiterate, Thunder did come first in the Western Conference, while the Nuggets did come fourth. So, a bit of difference when it comes to ranking in between there. But Denver are definitely trying to look to get this win and get another win under their belt. Now, looking at Denver Nuggets' Christian Braun, we've actually have seen him do a fantastic job. But looking at Thunder, we do see they rank 3rd in points allowed, 4th in assists allowed, and when it comes to rebounds allowed, we also see them ranked 20th. Now, when it comes to someone like Christian, we do actually like the under for this situation here. A big reason being is that Thunder have done a fantastic job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists, or a bit more on points and assists at the actual guard position. So, although Thunder do rank a little bit lower in that rebounding, when we look on a per position basis, especially to guards, we actually do see that they do a great job against guards, especially for someone like Christian Braun, who may not get the same amount of usage rate as other guards like Jamal Murray, like Russell Westbrook. Christian tends to play more of that defensive role, a bit more of that role-playing type role. So his usage rate can be very limited at times, dependent on how the game really is going. So, he isn't really like a Jokic for this team or a Jamal Murray for this team, which is why we still do like the under. Now, looking at his last 5 games, we see that on Game 7 against LA Clippers, he actually had 21 points, 4 assists, and 5 rebounds there. Then in Game 1 against OKC, where they won 121-119, so him have 11 points, 13 rebounds, and 3 assists. Then in Game 2, had 3 points, 2 rebounds, and 0 assists, where they lost 149-106. Then in Game 3, had a 113-104 overtime win, where he had 8 points, 7 rebounds, and 1 assist. And then lastly, in Game 4, had a 92-87 loss, where he had 17 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists there. So, it's definitely up and down when it came to Christian throughout this series and just throughout his whole playoff run. Some games he does well, other games he tends to be more of a passive sort of player and just play great defense and help his team win. So it's definitely up in the air, when it comes to which he has done more consistently. But the reason why we do like this next game is due to the fact that OKC are expected to come out with a whole new defensive strategy, which should restrict players like Christian Braun. And on top of that, Christian is more likely to go on the under in this situation here. So we are going against what the percentages do say. It is more likely for him to go on the under in certain categories. Now, points and assists is definitely where I would focus on. Now, rebounds are definitely is still some possibility there, but since OKC just do a poor job overall actually restricting rebounds, we would focus a little bit more on points and assists. But we have actually seen OKC just do a fantastic job at restricting all 3 categories to the guard position.